All right, hello and good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. We're gonna be playing some more Green-White Reclaimer today in Game 3 of the Green-White Reclaimer Tuning Bootcamp. Hell yeah! So the idea is we're gonna be trying out different cards and slightly different builds for this deck, trying to find what I like best. What we're gonna be trying out today in the main deck is gonna be the Tangled Florahedron. I have been kind of struggling to find what the last couple of slots would need to be. I tried Gracer, I tried the Mammoth yesterday, and today we're trying whatever this thing is. It's like a flower? Whatever. So it's basically similar to the Mammoth, with the exception, the difference obviously is the fact that you can play this as a ramp creature. It's a 2-mana Llanowar Elf, so you're probably not gonna be too impressed with the rate. But of course, the main attraction of these cards is the fact that we can call for a tap land whenever we need. As far as the Saber goes, I cut the Gadok Teague and the Collector Oof. Both cards were very, very lackluster. So in place of those, I'm adding Damping Sphere. The idea is to help in both the Tron matchups and the combo matchups, Oops all spells and stuff like that. So we're gonna see how that works out. Definitely not sold on this, but Damping Sphere was a card that I used to try in my original Titan Vial lists. So yeah, we're gonna see if they continue to be worth it. But yeah, let's get started. Alright, Hamburger Jung. He's our first victim of the day. ¿Qué haces, Jegantha? Tranqui. Playing against Jegantha. So this has to be the... Oh, okay. I was gonna say this would need to be... There's not that many decks that play Jegantha, so it is basically... I was expecting it to be either the mono red deck or for it to be the Saheeli deck. The Saheeli deck does play Jegantha as well. So if my opponent is smart enough to have the turn 3 Tron. They are on their way. They are on their way to turn 3 Tron. This is obviously bad for us. This is obviously bad for us. At least there's no O-Stone. That's also really bad news. So I won't be able to activate... Yeah, it's definitely the matchup that I was expecting to see for to test Damping Sphere for sure. Am I gonna play Dryad here? If I get Flagstones, that means that I spend my turn sacrificing Flagstones. We play a land next turn, probably this tapped, and then we get to activate Reclaimer, so we get to activate Dryad, so I guess this is what we're doing. We're basically ignoring Tron, we're just hoping that Dryad plus Valakut helps us get there. But of course, trying to use resources to slow Tron down doesn't make much sense when my opponent has active Tron and they also have an expedition map. What is a bootcamp? A bootcamp is when you... It's like when people kind of I don't want to use the word hide, but they go to a place and they like practice or they train for something. And there's like nothing but training. Do I like Tron? No, I think it's probably the most boring deck that you can play, barring Boggles. Tron is slightly better than Boggles. We're locked in Reclaimer instead of Amulet for the weekend. I think so, Bumman. I've been pretty high on this deck. I think it's pretty good. You got an Ugin. If they want to kill Reclaimer, they have to X-1, yeah. Whew, I can get Castle and I can Titan. I think I like that better, actually. And I'm gonna save the fetch land in hand. So what we do here is we're probably gonna go, I guess, double Valakut. Because they don't have Ulamog, otherwise they would have Ulamog there. So I think I'm gonna go for double Valakut. This is bad if they actually just naturally top deck the Ulamog right here, but or if they have O-Stone. But this basically blanks the Ugin. This basically blanks the Ugin. We also know that they don't have Ballista because they have Jegantha as a companion, so... My opponent is complaining in chat. They say, 4th time this deck now. Field of the Dead just has to go. It's a Wormcoil engine. Opponent's not gonna die to Field of the Dead, I'll tell you that much. Look at such a mana efficient turn from OP. Very mana efficient turn. Very mana efficient turn from opponents. Tron complaining, really? Yeah, that's, I mean, Tron players be Tron players, I guess. Generous Gift is nice. Knight of Autumn. What's up, Plasma guy? You know that it's, before you pointed it out, I literally just was seeing just a Y where the S is. I legit thought that your name was Plasma Guy. Gonna try here. Path to Exile gives me an answer to Ulamog, so... As the world falls apart, at least we still have Modern. Hallelujah. Next lens opponent would be too bad if you die, yep. Good stuff, good stuff. Testing out Tangled. Yeah, I didn't particularly love the Mammoth yesterday, so I'm trying it out. Again, it's possible that this should just be a Grazer or another Explorer. Opponent moves to 6. We do have Ghost Squatter plus Mind Sensor, so I guess I'm gonna keep. Best draw is probably a Damping Sphere. Why not the Regrowth Effect land? Because the whole point is that you can call for... Like, I'm not playing Florahedron because it's a good card. I'm playing it because it's a land that is also a creature. If I wanted to play a land, I would just play more Turn Timber Symbiosis, which is the better one of the lands because it enters untapped. If it were an Eternal Witness that is a land, I would be all over it for sure. Honestly, if it were an Eternal Witness as a land, it would probably be a staple of the archetype. Playing the Mammoth too for that reason. Yeah. I'm not particularly interested in a 3/3 landfall, right? Pime Teradox, thank you for the follow. Well, this is exactly what I needed for my opponent to somehow keep a 6-lander, a 6-card hand without... For them to keep a 6-card hand without turn 3 Tron. This is how we win the matchup. This is the strategy, chat. This is the strategy. You just have to have your opponent keep... Well, just Dryad plus Ghost Squatter. Yo, how's with the raid? Thank you so much, Jack. Welcome everybody from House of Mana's stream. It's I, Francisco. You might know me from House of Mana's podcast. Hell yeah. We got a podcast. We talk about Titan things. That's why it's called Titan Talk. Next episode is gonna be coming out tomorrow. Opponent floats a mana on draw step. Very cool, very cool. They wilt my Dryad, which doesn't matter too much. I guess it means that I can't Mind Sensor plus activate Reclaimer, so I guess it does matter a little bit. This is my issue with Mind Sensor in this matchup. Is like it's just sometimes too slow. So they're gonna have 10 mana next turn, which is Ulamog mana. Might not be able to beat that one. I guess that we can draw Ramming Up off the top. Two, 3 choose, try to change to my list and try JC's list if I vote twice with last night. Nice. Just want a format where Tron is unplayable. There were many of those. There were very many of those formats. Actually, maybe I should have... Wormcoil Engine. Boom! UV Mind Sensor the opponent. Ooh. Okay. Down with your Karn. We have to waste Vesuva here, unfortunately, so... Because it's the only way that I can have... Karn liberated. They exile my land. Golos. So now we have Reclaimer. Mind Sensor swings at Karn. That's the easy part. We have to account for my opponent Balasin. But we can Titan next turn with what we got. So we're just gonna pitch the Dryad. That's bad for us. That probably means that... Yep. The good thing is this forces the -3. To kill Mind Sensor. The problem is that now they have Ugin to answer my tokens, and they have the Karn to answer my Titan. Which sucks. We also drew not the best card. Cycle Wilt. I know this matchup is already fine. This matchup is not fine. This matchup is actually pretty bad for us. And yeah, if I recommend you check out my previous videos, the one where I tested Gadokti, Collector Oof, etc, etc. I tested very many cards for this matchup. They made Cube rough. Everything is the promo version. Why do they do that? That frustrates me so much. Like, the whole point of Cube is that you want to play with the fucking cards that you played when you were a kid. Well, when you were a kid, you didn't play with the promo versions of those cards. You played with the original versions. Just like, the whole point of Cube is nostalgia. Like, it appeals to nostalgia. Why don't you just... I don't know. It's just so stupid to me. It's so stupid to me. Wait. Can we beat that? We can't beat that, right? Yeah, we can't beat that. Let's just move on to the next game. Like, I could have killed the Karn, but like the Ugin is still what's keeping me in check. And Eidolon is interesting. Like, if I had access to Archon, like I would be all over Archon in this matchup. But Eidolon, I don't think it's good enough. Bone Daddy with a tier 1 sub. Thank you so much for the 5 months. Love this stream reclaimer content. I knew this card had to do something great. Brilliant content as always. Thank you for continuing to provide, even though the world is so shit right now. That's what I'm here for. Have you considered playing the third Valkyrie and finding myself wanting to naturally draw it more than not? No, I think that would really fuck up the mana base so strong. Like, as is, we have so many colorless sources that are very, very bad. Well, it's your time to shine, Florahedron. We need to draw something here, obviously. I mean, it's an extra land over the 2 mana, dude. You're missing the point of what this is for. Like, the whole point of this card is that you want to draw it. When in a situation like this, at least this ramps me, right? Yeah, but you're using specifically this hand as an example. That is extremely results oriented. You don't want your deck choices be results oriented based on what happened on that match where you drew this thing, you know? I have to say it's looking good here. Like, no, I think I'd rather this be a Florahedron than this be a Valakut right about now. This hand seems bad, why not go to 5? Because this hand has a plan, right? Like, this hand actually is doing something. And the plan is actually kind of working out, honestly. We're gonna go Valakut Field here. It's better if my opponent has Ugin, and Ugin seems like the best thing that they can have here. Yeah, I guess that GQ bounce might have been better. The thing is that I'm only afraid of Ugin. Yeah, I guess that we did have a second land drop, and then next turn we actually lethal them. The problem with doing that is that we are opening ourselves to wilt. Because if I do that, I basically time walked me and I gave them the green mana to kill my Dryad. If this is their play, we win. Sweet. Okay, so we win. Sweet. Storm seems almost unwinnable. Yeah, well, I have Now I have more tools against Storm, right? Dismember is a lot better than Path to Exile against Storm by a significant margin. Damping Sphere, Eidolon. I don't think Storm is unwinnable for this list. Too many YouTube videos trying to fast forward through their turn. Yeah. Man, like after starting to watch Magic content and at 2x, sometimes it's tough to watch at 1x, huh? Okay, I'm gonna keep this. We don't have Splinter Twin, but we're going to build our own Splinter Twin here real quick. I'm also playing Dismember, but it's not enough. Damping Sphere definitely helps a lot though. Yeah. Teague is kind of fine also against Storm, but Damping Sphere is a lot better. Oh yeah, I saw what you were doing. How did you do? Did a prelim fire yesterday? Rodney, did the prelim fire? Because I saw your list and I was pretty excited about it. Prelim didn't fire. Oh man. Have you been testing that list though? The depths reclaimer list? It looked pretty sweet. Wow. I wonder why they let me do this. Sure, you talked about this at length, but what are the pros and cons of this deck versus Amulet? What would make you want to choose one over the other? Well, it has a lot to do with... They have to be on Grixis Shadow, right? Like, they didn't reveal the companion, but they have bubbles, multiple bubbles, and swamp. They are different decks, and they have, like, different good and bad matchups, basically. For example, against... Oh, this is just... Okay, yeah, that makes sense. This deck is a little bit better against the mid-range decks. This deck is more consistent, but you are losing some power against stuff like just Liliana. Damn it, what am I trying to say here? Against the combo decks. Like, the combo decks are actually pretty bad for this. Almost unwinnable. While they are kind of okay for this deck. You just have more interaction. They're just different decks, basically. So I could go get Dryad here. Or I could just set up Titan. The problem if we try to set up Titan is that if my opponent fields or stomps my... Fields or trophies my castle, we are actually behind. I think I want to Dryad just to ramp. Springbloom would have been another option. Obviously, I top deck the card that I just searched for. When has this ever not happened, right? Knight is awful and Oko is hard to play around. Yeah, it seems... I was actually doing really well against Oko decks with my list. In Legacy, just like in Modern, just primetime shits on Oko. I think we pitched the Flagstones here. We already have Titan mana anyway. Ugh, I was gonna say I don't want to make my opponent's Goith bigger, but they just have the Liliana anyway. Damn it, do I just need to shock here to bolt? If I bolt, that enables me to charge up the blast zone. I would go to 1. I mean, I guess I just have to. My opponent can minus to kill the Dryad, that's fine. We have to charge this up before the Dryad dies. I don't remember how my deck did versus Delver. Actually, very well. I have a pretty positive record against Delver. Against all variants of Delver. You can check the VODs on YouTube, Rodney. So definitely float the mana, put the counter. Now we suck Dryad. We have 6. Second Liliana is brutal. Oh, Lurrus, that's so much worse. Oh, fuck. Well, we're just dead. So we have to top deck Titan. If we draw Titan, we win? Is that how we call it? Titan? Alright. The issue now is that we don't have... The issue now is that we don't have Titan mana anymore. Because we're gonna have to blow this up. Okay, we died. That really sucks. Like if we had actually just gotten a Titan of the call, I think we would have won that game. But like how were we supposed to know that we were going to draw exactly the card that I was planning on getting? It happens. Excavator's fine, Spring Bloom's fine. Apparition's great. Florahedron, maybe it's medium. Explore, Steve. I wonder if this deck wants 1/2 Summoner's Pact. I tried it, Rodney, and it was pretty bad. You are not very good at dealing with the pack triggers. You don't make as much mana as Amulet. Once Amulet gets going, like the amount of mana that you get, because you're hasting Titans and because you're like you just get so much mana into play, this deck creates mana at a lot slower rate than Amulet does. Was gonna Spring Bloom have better call of? It would have been pretty much the same. It would have allowed me to keep lands in hand, so maybe I can play around what's his name better, but it doesn't really give me a route to excuse me. It doesn't really give me a route to victory, right? Like having Dryad actually does give me a route to victory. My opponent did have the Liliana, so we got destroyed by the Lily, but just got one path. How do I like Natural Quality? I don't. That's why I'm not playing it. It's my second favorite card of all time, but I don't think it's good. This hand, however, this hand's good. We're not drawing very well. We're not drawing very well. Yep. So I guess this Reclaimer is gonna have to do some work for me, huh? Don't shock, don't shock. Yes, cool. Yes! That's how we do it. Honestly, maybe I should have played around Shadowed Out. Ashioko'd out. We already have a Valakut, so I'm just gonna go for Field here. If we draw a Dryad, we get to answer this Ashiok pretty cleanly, which is nice. If my opponent minuses, obviously. My opponent is indeed a minuser. That's pretty good. Nothing of relevance was exiled. Guess we just do this right now. If they don't answer this, we're gonna start getting field tokens next turn. That's a Goif. And that's another Goif. Give me that Flagstones, baby. So we can make Goifs 2 3s? No, 3 4s. No, 4 5s. Damn, that's... They just have everything over there? No, just 2 3s. Never mind. We can actually exile. Opponent attacks. We could get greedy here and put a Reclaimer in front of one of these Goifs, but we get blown out. So I'm just going to put 2 zombies in front of one of these. And we're going to take 2. The problem is if I put a Reclaimer in front of the other Goif, my opponent pushes this other Reclaimer and then we get super blown out. So that's probably game. Unless they have Damnation. Basically, Damnation or bust. And even if they do have Damnation, like my top decks are still, like everything is a good top deck. 35 out of 35 cards in my deck are good top decks. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, this is fine. This is what some of the cards look like. Everything is a fucking alternate art. Give me, oh my god, this is so annoying. Like, which sword is this one? I can't. This hand's pretty. It's fine. Explorer is just really good in this matchup. They don't have Discard spell. That's awesome. So now I can turn to explore into hold up path. I had to read every line. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like it takes so much from the experience, and I don't understand why they do that. Because that's a very conscious decision. It's not like you cannot choose what art you're gonna be displaying. It's really annoying. This is a good discard spell if that's what they have. E for 1. Okay, I guess that's what we're doing. Let's play this tapped and say go. Next turn, now that we have a second white source, we can hold that path and purge, so there's probably nothing that I'm doing here. This is kind of a waste though. I don't know why they did that, honestly. You have an Ashiok. Is my opponent gonna minus again? God damn it. Why do people do this? I really don't understand. Like, it only takes slowing down and thinking, okay, what am I trying to achieve here? What is my goal? What is my end game? Oh, they have another one? Okay. Guess they're going for the mill plan. If we draw a Dryad, like, we're gonna win very easily. Ramming Up is gone, so we have to watch out for that. Radiant Fountain's gone, probably not gonna matter. This game, my opponent is super slow out of the game, or out of the gates. I am kind of afraid of Liliana. That's the only thing. It's a single elimination. I have to relook at what opponent plays. Yeah. Do this. Sure. The funniest part is, like, my opponent's playing Tarmogoyf in their deck, and this is actively making my opponent's Goyf smaller. Not interesting path in this. Oh yeah. So now if we draw a Dryad, yeah, this is just an absolute blowout now. I really don't understand why my opponent did this. Just yet another fantastic example of why minus in Ashiok is such a terrible idea when you're doing it mindlessly and without thinking of the consequences. I would have, if my opponent hadn't minus Ashiok, I would have needed to throw away a Flagstones of Trocaire. I would just needed to, like, waste it, right? Like, just basically effectively deny myself a land drop. But instead, my opponent just made things very, very easy for me. No, I misclicked. I misclicked and I'm an idiot. And I should have won that turn, but I'm an idiot and I misclicked. And my opponent's totally going to draw a Thoughtseize. Because it skipped through the damage phase. I have a stop on my damage step and it just skipped through it. Lurrus. Sure. It does literally nothing, right? Because of how they tapped. They could have gotten back their Hex Shrinker, but because of how they tapped, they got nothing. Okay, now I'm not gonna be an idiot. We're gonna do the thing properly. Punt, then win, exactly. I mean, it's easier to... My opponent seems to not be familiar with how to play their cards, basically. They spewed so much value this entire match. They spewed so much value. This game should have been a lot closer than it was. Got a Lurrus. Again, getting no value from it. Oh, I guess they do get value. So we do this. Opponent's gonna crack explosives now, probably. They just take it, going on a 1. Okay. Hello. Let's do fetch land. Okay. Yeah, I think that is something that you need to learn. Like if you're gonna be playing a John style deck, like John, black, green, whatever, you need to know how to get the most value from your cards. You cannot just go around spewing value, because the whole point of your deck is to get those small edges and get value that way, and eventually pull ahead after, you know, getting so much, gaining so much incremental advantage. You don't have any card that is just a Primeval Titan that just like makes up for all the mistakes that you made before. So in that sense, I think that actually John style decks are harder to play, because you need to basically all of your decisions throughout the game do matter. Am I horrible if I buy New Border Flags instead of OG? I kind of like the Legendary Border. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You should definitely do whatever makes you happy, I'll tell you that much. If you do like the New Border, just get the New Border. I don't. So I get the Old Border. It's Christmas time? No, it's testing time, which is similar to Christmas time. So we're playing against pawns. I think putting 2 Reclaimers in play is going to be better. It forces my opponent to answer both of them right now. Or otherwise next turn I'm going to start getting the engine rolling. They could also find Blood Moon. There's the moon. Pillage. Sure. You 5-0 today? Nice, Throat Wolfie. Chandra. Actually, Chandra doesn't do anything on this board, which is a great feeling. So now we get to kill Chandra and play Springbloom. Yeah. Killing Chandra is important here. So we're gonna get to basics. Then we get a basic of the Flagstone's trigger. We could have actually, no, actually that was a mistake. I should have gotten a basic. I should have gotten a shock land off of the Flagstones, and I should have gotten the white source from the Springbloom. They have nothing. They have nothing. I could crack Blast Zone to blow up their... I'm not gonna. Oh, I should have played Second Reclaimer. Why didn't I just misclick there? You gotta see some Pyro. You gotta close this. I'm just gonna sack this. Valakut there. Oh! Whoops. I fucked up. Never mind. Saved. I had to call for Titan. Nothing like punting left and right and they just win it anyway. But it's funny, like it just happened twice. What I was saying the other day on Spike stream about me not being able to talk and do stuff. We actually just saw that in... We just saw that in action. Me just thinking of a line which was... The line was obviously... Play a Dryad, play a Reclaimer, play a Dryad, play a Reclaimer, and then call for Titan on end step, and then win through there. That was the line. It was very obvious, it was very easy, it was very clean. And then I just did something completely different for no reason. Fortunately, we have a good emote for this kind of days. I'm gonna experiment with shaving 2 Dryads. I think I've been doing this in this matchup. I've been experimenting with shaving Dryads in matchups where I think that my opponents will be bringing in Boil. This doesn't have a path to my colored sources, my basics. So this doesn't have a path to my basics either. So we do have a white source though. So I'm gonna keep this bottom 1 call. We do have a basic plane, so if we draw Celestial Purge, we're fine. White side out Dryad? No, Boil. We don't care about choke. We beat choke very easily. Choke is barely problematic, but Boil is very good against us. So by cutting on Dryads, I give myself the option of basically taking alternative routes. Remember when I said that because we had planes, we could actually use Celestial Purge to answer this? This is exactly what I meant. And unless they play a second, this is Glory Banger, Bloodbraid. Okay, just don't pillage me. That's fine. So now we can call for Spring Bloom. Definitely want to make sure that we gain the life. So now my opponent will need a second Blood Moon, which they might have actually. Bone Crusher Giant, that's a 4/3, okay. They might be trying to set up a 2-turn clock here. They might be able to set up a 2-turn clock here. What is this? We're taking 5. Go to 14. Next turn we block here. We take 1, 2, 3. Dismember ain't bad. Gonna get the other basic planes. Thank you for the follow there. I appreciate that. I wish I could read. We're at 14. We would go down to 10. We can kill the Blood Braid. I'm considering killing the Arbor Elf, but it's probably not a good line. This gives me an out to Magus of the Moon. Stomp. Is that lethal? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And they eat with the Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, this is actually just lethal. Unfortunate. We were 1 turn away from stabilizing. If they'd have been a Path to Exile, we would have actually won. I mean, I don't know, we would have won. We would have survived this attack and then we would have stabilized with resolving a Titan. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, they don't even need to attack with the Arbor Elf, and it's lethal. Just they can Scusi eat both. Let's try it again. Let's make that switch. We could bring in Tireless Tracker. Honestly, like, we have so many answers to Blood Moon that I don't really feel the need to play Tireless Tracker. I think I'd rather have Dismember. Generous Gift also answers the Blood Moon, but against aggressive decks like this one, I'm not excited about bringing in Generous Gift. Same thing against like Mono Red Obosh and stuff. Wait, how do we have 142 viewers? What happened? Did somebody raid me? It was just house. Alright, sweet. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out today. Ooh. Sounds pretty sexy. We're gonna go turn 1 Wooded Foothills. It allows me to call for something if I need to on 2. And it gives me a fetch. Why gave to Abyss Within? Could really read the NSA. Just pass the turn. I'm fetching for a basic anyway, so easy. So now we don't care about Blood Moon. We're just gonna call for Titan. I was thinking of spending that turn to play a Reclaimer, but like this just puts a body into play, so my opponent cannot really attack. Like if they have a Bloodbraid, we just take a trade. That's good for us. So I feel like this was just like the better line. Maybe I'm wrong. Sure, my opponent had another one. Yes, taking this trade. Thank you very much. I think I'll spend this turn to play Raminep and Elvish Reclaimer. I'm missing on value from the Raminep, but I put a 2-3 on the board. My opponent might be tempted to bolt it or whatever, but that means that my Reclaimer doesn't die. If they attack, I'm not going to block. What happens playing Vesuva Under Moon? It is a land that doesn't do anything, basically. My opponent just doing stuff second main. Interesting concept. So it does something while it's here, and then... Oh. Why would they do that? Be the bowl. Thank you for the follow. I like when I have to play Vesuva, copy nothing with Dread and play and tap it for Reclaimer. Yeah, exactly. So basically it is a land that enters untapped and it's gonna be a mountain, right? But what it does is it actually, if you answer the Blood Moon, you get nothing. I could be playing Steve here, but we're gonna achieve the same by blowing up the moon and sacking Flagstones, so I'd rather get value from my ramming up there. You gotta cloth this. Gonna take 3. Oh, I fucked up, actually. I should have blocked. We could have blown them out. I guess we couldn't have, huh? So, purge there. Sacrifice. I guess we're gonna get a Radiant Fountain just to get value. Well, we can. It's kind of the only thing that gives us value on their moon. Let's find some planes. They're down to 0 cards though. So we just have to draw an apparition. Or a call. We can call for apparition. Apparition or call wins the game, basically. They also didn't make Reclaimer smaller, which is interesting. They could have drawn a Bolt, but there's nothing that we can do here. Like, this is just a free attack for them, so we can't just be taking this damage. They have a Bolt or, yeah, like a Giant or whatever. We can play around Boil. Just pass the turn. So we just have 7 turns to draw an apparition. We also have Path to Exile. Also, my opponent exiling my creatures is a mistake because they showed me that they have Scavenging Ooze on game 2. It's also possible that they should be exiling my lands just so I cannot grow Reclaimer. So they have 0 cards in hand, no need to play around Boil, so we play Dryad, green, white, we call for Apparition, the Magus, we Vesuva, copy Valakut, save targets. Always yes, always yes, always yes, and always healed. We play this, and our opponent is now dead. Boom. Nice. Solid start to the stream. Solid start to the stream. GG's indeed. Drew like a god. I mean, at that point we have all of this. We had 2 purges and we had 1 dismember. So all of these cards would have won the game. So I had 12 draw steps that win the game on the spot. So yeah, I mean, we drew fairly well. We drew pretty well. Like there's no denying that. But like at that point, we have many draw steps that get there. So it wasn't that unlikely for us to not get there. We were looking good. Seeing post, I could see lose to both Tron and Titans. I'm wondering what's the point of it. Well, it shits on Amulet. That is probably one of the main differences between Titan decks. Like I feel advantaged against Gruul with this deck, and I feel extremely disadvantaged with Amulet. Like you don't need a miracle to win with Amulet, but like you need something pretty close to it. Also, my opponent drew pretty well as well. They found an answer to my Titan. They found they also found a Bloodbraid Elf immediately after. So it was a top deck fight. but slow rolling that Dryad until the turn where it was lethal was definitely the line. We'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the restroom real quick. What my opponent thinks about whether to keep or not. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Just keep it. Easy keep. Yeah, well, Reclaimer is what makes this hand, obviously. Also, Reclaimer is what makes most hands. Like, your hand needs to be really non-functional to mulligan a turn 1 Reclaimer hand. Put it most 5. Bloodstainmire. Okay. Usually when your opponent moves to 5, Bloodstainmire is not what you're expecting. Gobo? Very interesting. Unfortunately, I'm probably gonna want to... Funny thing, wow! If my opponent doesn't kill the Reclaimer on the first turn, it's gonna be a 3/2 by turn 2. Because I can just fetch and then find fetch for a place and then cycle Scatter Groves. Oh no, I guess I'm 1 short. Never mind, I miscounted. It was cute though. It was a cute idea. Have I played Florahedron much? We drew the Florahedron in the first match against Tron, and it was game winning, which was nice. This is just like burn, like actual burn. Explore into basic planes, path. Stop taking damage from this silly dude. That sucks. I think my opponent has two 2-drops in their hand. So I think it's better to path the guide instead of the Swiss Spear here, because it effectively saves me 1 life. Especially if they have Skewer the Critics. Because they have to play Skewer the Critics second main and not get value from the Prowess trigger. That sucks. But I'm gonna play this just as a 2/3 blocker. We are not gonna get value from it because I don't want to fetch. And we have plenty of lands in hand already. Gobo is fine. I'm gonna helix my Raminap. That's not so fine. Best draw is definitely a Dryad. Hallowed Fountain would also be acceptable. Yeah, let's this Raminap. 8 Lightning Helix. Something good. Land or yes. I think I'm gonna cycle Grove's main phase. Yes. Okay, so we are most definitely playing this, so let's just play it. I know I'm gonna cycle Scattered Groves. I'm still playing Druid regardless, because Druid actually allows me to trigger Field this very turn, which is kind of insane. Actually, does that mean... Yeah, this means that I'd rather do this right now, I guess. And then cycle. I guess we can cycle on my opponent's end step. So with this and this. And yes. Welcome to the zombie apocalypse, opponent. It has begun. Have I talked about how consistently impressed I am by this card? I feel like I do. I say this every single stream. It's just like, this card is the nuts. This card is very, very good. Please step out for me. Please step out for me, opponent. Be nice. Yeah. There we go. Please step out for me, opponent. Oh, ha, 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 ha. Zero cards in hand, so no Skullclark to play around. Gonna double chump. I guess we're gonna trade here. Block and block. Cycle here. F6. I was thinking about ghost quartering them off white, but I think that the line is just going to be Vesua plus Celestial Sanctuary. Means that I can't really die. Vesua, of course, copying this. Now that I drew a Dryad, I think I actually cannot die. Vesuva Sanctuary. Vesuva this. I guess... No, I didn't have enough mana to do both. I was one short. F6. Nuts as a one-off. Would you consider playing more over Explore? What are you talking about, Professor? If you fetch Vesuva Sanctuary now, you can copy first and then bounce Radiant Fountain right now. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Why no Dryad first? Because I was 1 mana short. And that means that I don't get to replay the Fountain second main phase. Though I guess that there's no 5 mana burn spell, so maybe it's just fine. Eidolon is interesting against burn. It's not that good, but it's okay. Oh, I was talking about Springbloom, yeah. Playing another one. No, I think you want the one. You want the one because you actually call for it fairly often. Like Purge better than Eidolon. I don't want to overdo it with removal though. Like it's not uncommon to. It's not uncommon to just find yourself in a situation where you have like 2 paths to exiles and you're at 6 or something, or your opponent just like draws burn spells and kills you. I would definitely add the last purge against prowess or something like that. The 2 liners I had enough mana. Okay. If I was going to, I'm definitely prioritizing gaining the 2 life over playing the Dryad at that point, but yeah. Eidolon kind of solo wins versus burn. I don't think that's true. Eidolon seems more interesting as a game 1 measure. I'm kind of tempted by this hand actually. We're gonna get field active on turn 4. I think I'm keeping, particularly if my opponent mulligans. Yeah, they mulliganed, so I'm gonna keep. Turn 1 Swifty. Best thing we can draw is probably a Path to Exile or a Celestial Purge. Now it's a Celestial Purge. Feel like on turn 4, they're on turn 3. Yeah, that's possible. If they have a multiple 1-drop draw, then it's possible we die before we get to get field active. But I assessed that risk and I deemed it worthy. I have accepted my fate. We don't even need to fetch now. Sick. Burn hasn't been a great matchup in my experience. I'm on the contrary. I feel like Burn has been a solid matchup. Prowess has not been though. Prowess has kind of been a struggle. This is very good for us. My opponent keeping a 1-lander. Like Burn usually. I don't know if you should ever keep 1-landers with Burn. Suck this. Go to plains, forest. Next turn we're gonna have an active field. And we even get a champ block out of the deal, which is nice. Ghost Square allows me to get more tokens if I need to. Riftbolt. Suspend one, you win the game. That's good. So we attack with both here. And I think I'm going to upkeep, blow up their Aspire Advantage with the Ghost Quarter. So this is 4 mana. Wow, they brought in Path. That is so good for me. Wow. That is amazing. We might actually win because my opponent overboarded. So this is 12, 14. I think I'm interested in pathing here just so I can get my attack through. Because this is gonna be down to 18. This is gonna be 14 plus 4. And my opponent will need to have exactly, because of the Eidolon, they're gonna need to have exactly Lightning Bolt. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we go to their end step. We go score to their advantage. They can't do anything because they already cast Riftbolt. They needed to path an upkeep, but that achieves the same thing, which is denying them the white mana. So we only lose to exactly Lightning Bolt. And we have exactly lethal. I guess +1. Dead to Searing Blaze now? Yeah, that's fair. I guess we're dead to Blaze. But we needed to set up lethal, right? That's the only way that we were able to set up lethal, so... They had exactly Blaze. Brutal. Yeah, the idea was precisely to kill their white mana. So I guess that it wouldn't have mattered, right? Brutal. Rather make Blaze and out than Borstam. Yeah, for sure, for sure. No life lane. There's Knight of Autumn there. Knight of Autumn gains life. No green mana, so we're gonna ship it. Nothing to do, so I guess we're gonna ship it too. Would Pathing Zombie fizzle Blaze? No. Blaze, unlike something like Syrian Blood, Syrian Blaze has 2 targets. So, because it has 2 targets, your opponent, even if you remove one of the targets, the spell will still resolve. Down to 4 we go, I guess. Can this hand hang? Can this hand win? We turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 decenters tapped. I think this hand might be able to hang, actually. But we're gonna need to... We have 2 turns to draw an untap land. This is 5. So I don't think that we're gonna find a 4 that can actually beat burn on the play. That is why I kept this. Otherwise I wouldn't have kept this. Please suspend Rift Bolt. How am I 10 minutes ahead of my opponent? Can somebody explain to me how this happened? Flagstones would be a pretty good draw, let me tell you. All right, that plays. It's hard to decide which deal 3 to cast. I don't know, it seems like a little bit... My opponent is a deliberate player. That's the word that they consistently use on coverage whenever Nassif is on. My opponent is a deliberate player. I fucking hate that thing, man. It's so annoying. Like, move on. Move on. Like, you figure out something new to talk about. Gabriel Nassif is a Hall of Famer, very deliberate player. Once again, Springbloom being excellent. This time not as good as it often is, but still pretty solid. Let's get Forest and Plains. If we top the Titan, we can cast it next turn. Hopefully this might eat a champ block. If we draw Titan, we win. Indeed. Indeed. You see, people who hang out in chat here, they know what's up. Red-white is probably good for me because it means that it's no Syrian Blaze or Blood. It's a Boros Charm, which is, I guess, not that good for me, but still. At least we're gonna get a Charm block out of this dude, which is nice. So we're going down to 7. Yeesh. Can the multi-5 get there? Against my opponent's very good draw, actually. Titan gains virtual for life. So hopefully I'm not forced to answer both of this, though I think that we're not gonna have enough. Feels like we're gonna be just a tiny bit short. Maybe my opponent's hand is infested with Path to Exiles and Syrian Blazes right now. Cycle Sunbaked Canyon. I dare you. No. We have a spell. Damn it. At least we don't just die this turn. Nope, not that one. This one. So now I guess we can call for Knight of Autumn. They just have Boris Charm. Fuck me, I guess. So we die to literally anything at this point. So my opponent's hand needs to be something like that. We're gonna have to pass this Eidolon and then call for probably Titan. Why no path and call for Titan? If you look at my current mana base, I only have 2 white sources. I would have needed 3 white sources to do that. Mattress. Would have needed 3 white sources. The opponent just has it all. It's fine. Honestly, it's not that weird that our multi-5 didn't get there against my opponent's very good draw. Of course. Of fucking course. It's always one below. It's always one below. I don't think I've ever lost a game where if I had drawn a Titan I would have been able to stabilize. I don't think I have ever lost a game where if I looked at the top card it wasn't a Primeval Titan that would have won the game. It just never happened. Has never ever happened. Okay. Maybe Shadow? That's what I would assume here. I think I'm probably playing this Florahedron as a land. Thoughtseize, you got me. Wait. They knew that I was drawing a Dryad there. They knew I was drawing a Dryad and they still took the Dryad from my hand? Okay, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever played against Titan where they didn't have the Titan exactly when needed. You need to play against me more often than McDerp. Probably gonna be killing this Goifo. Okay. Gonna name Spirit. We already have double green, and naming Spirit allows me to cast the guy, the core guy. I think I'm digging my life total staying at 20, so my opponent cannot play Scourge. So we're gonna keep it like that. Can we draw a castle off the top? Gonna call for Druid here. Yeah, my opponent obviously had the Scourge, so. Started watching your stream for learn how to beat Titan. Stayed for the accent and big brain plays. Thank you. Thank you. What is this? Okay, this is scary. 2 Scourges. Yeah, this is hella scary. Spring Bloom me, baby. Spring Bloom. Fetching your lands. Getting you value. Spring Bloom. Hell yeah. Let's go Spring Bloom. That is the Ballad of Spring Bloom Druid. Okay, this is not that big of a deal. This is not that big of a deal. Unless they have exactly, unless the last, well, I guess the last card cannot be a TBR. So the card that they draw for a turn needs to be a TBR. 3, 4, 5, 6. Ganja Sensei. Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Welcome to the Primetime Stronghold. First time subscriber. I appreciate it. Field is one of the picks, 100%. What's the other one? Unfortunately, Blast Zone just doesn't do it. It's too slow. Can we beat TBR off the top? It needs to be exactly the card that they draw. Because they can bubble, but it doesn't matter because we have lethal on the crackback, so. Thank you for the content on that Kika's song. Thank you, thank you. Chose to put Reclaimer Faxes in my legacy deck tonight. Be happy. Nice, good for you, House. Starting to see the light. Starting to see the light that is Elvish Reclaimer. Great guy. That's not TBR, baby. That's also not TBR. What are you doing, opponent? You're literally dead on board now. Yeah. The correct play obviously was to cycle, then to ren, cycle again. They're looking for a specifically TBR. Nothing else matters, so I don't know why they went for that. We want that purges. Bojuk against Lurrus. Again, it doesn't matter. The Lurrus didn't matter, right? Because the only thing that I could have gotten back was Mishra's Bubble. And the bubble gives them the draw on the following turn where it just doesn't matter anymore. Just threw together a Reclaimer list you played last month. It was fun. I've been doing a fair amount of winning with that list, which was pleasantly surprising. Gonna keep this hand, a lot of removal. If my opponent has a lot of discard spells, it's not gonna be great, but the fact that we have answers to both Goyfs and other nonsense is kind of neat. Let's start with this. Just got wrecked by this deck yesterday, they just destroyed me. What were you on, Pedro? Okay, well, they have 3, 3, 4 reclaimers, exactly. Good to play a single Yargle Explorer. Ugh. So I think we're actually gonna main phase Purge here to play around the thing, and if my opponent spends 3 mana to make this dude an protection from instance, we can just apparition it, which is nice. Ah, man. They saw the line. Yargle STP. It's okay, House. You get to be wrong. It's fine. I still like you. What does mean the Apostle's Blessing? There's no way I'm supposed to cycle this, right? What could happen for me to want to cycle these Scatter Groves? What would need to happen? I guess that anything that we draw, we can just cast off Cavern. Okay, I just sold me. The thing is, I don't want to play this Sanctuary just yet, because unless we draw a Dryad, that gets us actually further away from field. I don't want to keep a path because there's nothing I'm pathing here, right? This thing can continue to beat me for 2. Can play Grove now and cycle it later. Yeah, I know, but I think I actually would rather dig deeper into my deck, because I can cast anything that I want off of this Cavern. Keep on taking 2, there's no need for me to do anything. Sotsies. That lure is actually kind of annoying. Because I have more answers to this than I do have answers to this. I think I'm actually going to kill the Hex Drinker here. And I have to do it now because I can draw a Purge and I only have one white source. And here I'm gonna name Giant. Gonna block and sack. Getting a white source. The other basic planes. Now we just let field do its thing. Good old 2-4-0. Good old 2-4-0. And of course, if we ever draw like a Dryad or we ever draw a Titan, we actually just win on the spot. Easy. I actually... How funny is this, right? I want the Valakut trigger here to resolve last. Because I want to kill this, and I don't want my opponent to have Fatal Push enabled. So we have to stack Valakut last, then Silesian Sanctuary, then Field. Okay, so they had another removal spell. That was pretty interesting, actually. Do you think if Snowlands didn't count for field, that would be a reasonable nerf? It would definitely be worse. It would definitely be worse. Alright. So we just did this. Playing around Fatal Push here. Fuck. It's not one that I was playing around. Got me. Good to know that they have that. Next turn we can force a chump. I guess it trade. Ugh. Okay, so we're gonna be playing around Boil for game number 3, so I guess I'm gonna shave a couple of Dryads. Because we just died here. That actually explains why my opponent spent so many turns without doing anything. Pretty sketchy keep, but this kind of hand is fine in this kind of matchup. And if they don't have turn 1 Thoughtseize, I think I like my chances. This also slows down the dude. Best draw is probably Springloom. I have a bunch of Path to Exiles. Didn't both read Doomblade Counterspell. Again, green's deck and well, it's been effective resting piece against Stretch. We could argue that it's necessary to counter Cavern. I'm playing Dryad here because it's just so easy for me to play around Boil. I'd block you. As I usually say, the main issue with Boil in this kind of matchup is you actively want to kill the Dryad, so you're actively making your Boils worse. So now if we draw a field, it's active. If we draw a Titan, we can cast it. Definitely pathing this guy. Blaststone basically answers everything else. So something good, please. I think I'm not gonna need the mana, so I'm gonna hold on to this Temple Garden. Hoping for no Ren and 6 or something like that. That's probably the worst case scenario for us. You literally know about my hand. Like, you literally know that I have a Temple Garden in my hand. That's a known fact. Okay, that kind of sucks. Let's get a forest. Can we draw a Titan, please? Drum roll. How about a Valakut that doesn't do anything? The good thing is now we have access to, like, Cole actually wins as well. The problem is my opponent's probably going to be playing a Scourge now, so that's really scary. Particularly if they have TBR and I sided out my Ghost Squatter, so I can't prevent them from having red sources. I guess I couldn't anyway because they have Ren. They have a Pintland engine going. All right, we need to draw. We need to draw that Titan this turn. That's not it. That's not it, chat. I think Gus is a fine card. When it was printed alongside Veil, and it's interesting to see two cards interplay. Yeah, both of them are busted. Titan still stabilizes though. Barring TBR, obviously. Titan? Call. Sweet. We have a shot. We could also dry it for lethal. Yeah, Dryad is GG if my opponent doesn't have Dismember. I think it's just too risky. So do I think my opponent has... Do I think that my opponent has... Timur Battle Rage, or do I think that my opponent has removal? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for the coward play. This is most definitely a coward stream. We could field Bog. Or we could double field. Double field helps me set up lethal, but it gives my opponent one more draw towards I guess double lightning bolt or Timur Battle Rage. I guess I'm actually gonna Bog field. We still get 4 zombies. Field Bounce Fountain? I don't think that's what I want to do. They can't double bolt? Yeah, they can. They can just Ren and bring this back on top, right? If I Bog, they can't double bolt. That's... I think I'm actually going to Bog here. It stops their engine. Makes Goyf smaller. They did have the trophy. Getting 1 extra zombie seems worth it. We're not at 4, we're at 5. They have another trophy. Jeez. Okay. So I guess we still need to top deck now. So we have to jump. Steal that to TBR. They don't have it. Good thing I didn't go for the Dryad. Titan. Or another call. Okay, we died. That was rough. That was rough. We have so many draws towards the Titan. Classic 3-0 start. Also, we won every match 2-1 and we lost every match 1-2. Feels bad, man. Okay. All right. Let's try it again. This list so far has looked pretty nice. I'm not upset on it. Double field might have won there, right? 8 zombies mean they cannot attack. Yeah, double field could have been an option for sure. But my opponent had 3 Assassin's Trophies, right? Like after my opponent has used 2, they have used 2 Assassin's Trophy, right? Like how many more answers to a Primeval Titan can they have? And the field, right? So it kind of felt like it was correct to try to deny my opponent draws with that Ren, because I am actively dead to the Timur Battle Rage. How am I supposed to play around 3 Assassin's Trophies? I still think that going for the bog was the better line, considering what my opponent could have access to, basically. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this league. We're gonna just take a very short break and then we're gonna take another play another one. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 3 minutes. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.